Elara had always thought of the city library as a sanctuary, a place where the hum of quiet footsteps and the scent of old books created a world apart from the restless streets outside. But she had never expected it to feel like the beginning of a story she might live herself. She wandered between towering shelves, fingertips brushing spines as though each volume contained a secret meant only for her. And it was there, in the midst of golden afternoon light, spilling through the tall arched windows, that she first noticed him, Mr. Alaric. He was not a man who demanded attention. Instead, he carried the sort of quiet authority that made others notice him anyway, a calm confidence born of years, perhaps decades, spent observing the world and learning from it. At 20, Elara found herself both fascinated and nervous, unsure whether it was admiration or something more that made her pulse quicken when he spoke. There was a subtle charm in the way he explained the nuances of literature to the small group gathered for his weekly workshop, the careful patience in his gestures, the way his eyes lingered for a fraction longer when he encouraged someone's question, as if he saw them in a light no one else did. She tried to focus on the poetry in her notebook, but every glance he offered, every approving nod, sent sparks of imagined connection dancing through her mind, and soon her ordinary days became a slow unfolding of subtle tension, small gestures, and unspoken possibilities. Elara's imagination took the smallest details and turned them into entire afternoons of shared discovery. A laugh over a misread passage, wandering through sunlit courtyards, discussing stories as if the city itself had paused to watch them. The brief brushing of hands while exchanging books that seemed to carry the weight of unspoken meanings. Even as she walked home through familiar streets, she replayed their interactions like treasured pages in a diary, imagining conversations stretching into twilight, where they discussed not only literature, but life, art, and the quiet dreams that only seemed safe to whisper in her mind. Her fantasies were never about actions or intimacy. They were about discovery, admiration, and the thrill of being seen, of finding in another person a guide, a muse, a figure of quiet stability who made her feel in some delicate way that she was capable of more than she had imagined. And as weeks passed, the lines between her imagination and the small, real gestures of his attention blurred delightfully. The soft correction of her pronunciation, the way he recommended books that resonated with her restless thoughts, the brief, shared smiles that lingered just long enough to make her heart flutter. Every encounter, both imagined and real, felt like the turning of a page in a story written just for her, one in which patience, respect, curiosity, and subtle emotion formed a delicate dance. Elara began to notice the world differently. The sunlight through the library windows now seemed to spotlight possibilities. The rustle of leaves along the cobblestone streets felt like whispers of encouragement, and the laughter of strangers reminded her of the warmth of a connection that existed largely in imagination, but had the power to inspire courage, hope, and a sense of wonder. By the time evening fell and she left the library, the ordinary city seemed sprinkled with tiny sparks of magic, as if each glance, each thought, each imagined conversation had left a trace behind, a reminder that romantic tension, admiration, and the thrill of connecting emotionally with someone older could be beautiful, immersive, and entirely safe within the landscape of her mind. a story of longing and discovery that required only imagination, patience, and the willingness to dream.